Hey guys, Pherozens here again. I am making my itemization video now. Um, okay, so right now I have on a typical X defense setup for me, which I kind of went over in my X defense video. Uh, I use a advanced metasensory with a Hela. I use advanced kung fu with a Fandral. I use advanced crimson crystal of Cyttorak with a Hela. So that's two Helas. And I use a white suit jacket with a Hogun for the extra melee power. My medallion is Tombstone Medallion, which is probably going to be the same for just about anything. Really liking this one right now. New Gambit changes. It's not like super mandatory to be stacking power duration like we used to have to, like for any build. Now we can kind of branch out, and if you want the longer rage and Cajun, you can stack power duration, but I found that it's not really worth it. It's better to just shoot for more damage and more health. So this baby right here gives you some crit, which I'm looking for a better one. And it gives you a good chunk of melee damage. 527. I also, I'll get in that in a minute. I use my Olamuria on like everything all the time. I've been thinking about playing around with what is it called? Asgard. Been thinking about playing around with Asgard, but you only get 82 melee power damage. And I don't know. It just doesn't seem like all that much for the swapping out for the 93 health anytime I deal damage. That's a ton of sustain. Um, I use Brigand's Fortune and X Defense because it gives you more spirit and it gives you more rare and special item find, which most of the time when I'm doing X defense, I'm doing it to get uniques or runes or whatever. I'm doing it for drops. Uh, so I do that. Um, I pretty much always keep on my Signet of Fandral just because it was such a pain to get it, which it wasn't really that much of a pain because I was having fun playing the game. It takes a lot of PvP games to get these things at level 60, but it's totally worth it for 235 flat damage, which is a lot. And then you get a good little dodge bonus, and hopefully tenacity will be worth something one day. Um, uh, I'm using these for the crit rating and crit damage rating. They also give me basically +2 to all bow combat powers, which is great. Um, and 3 to my signature, and then some health, because everything has to have health on it. Everything. Marauder boots. Drop some ones with a really good health roll, so I'm using those. 1655 is pretty good for this slot, and then it's got the +1 to speed, so that bumps me up to getting that 5% attack speed, which is really nice. Um, yeah, that's the main reason for those. Uh, this slot, found a good Grant. This one's got Bow Vault, which is normally a 1 pointer for me. So basically, it just made it a maxed out spell, which is awesome. Um, and then health, of course. And then I like to get some kind of utility on it. I got spirit cost reduction on bow powers, and then some extra damage on targets that are attacking me. Uh, Externals Mantle. The durability is really nice. Um, let's see. Health and health regen. That's its best things, I guess, defensive wise. Um, Hopefully, again, tenacity. Hopefully, it'll be worth something one day. Maybe. We'll see. 3% damage to bosses. That's your best offensive stat there. So I like the Externals Mantle. It's got a lot of good things for it. I wish it was +2 to the rank of all powers though, instead of just +1, but oh well. Death Spike Staff. I mean, it's kind of a given for any melee build, because it gives you almost 300 more melee power. It gives you good attack speed. It gives you that insta kill proc. You get health when you defeat enemies, and +5 to all bow combat powers. Awesome. +8 to survive expert. Um, then I use this for X defense because you need more offense than defense and X defense, I think, personally. So I went with this. And it seems to be alright so far. I don't know if I really care that much for it over an Excalibur. I don't really see all that much of a difference, because this gives 800 flat damage and 400 crit, whereas this gives the 800 crit with the 2000 crit damage, um, which is really good, but it can be kind of bursty. So I think overall they kind of balance out, personally. But again, I'm not like a pro or anything, so whatevs. Use whatever makes you happy. X defense, I like to run flat damage on my costume, and then I run
Don't mind me chilling.
I run 25% regen on everything, on all my costume cores. I use this for everything, just because I think it's awesome. It has avoid projectiles, good defense. It's got a lot of health, and it's got 265 melee power. So yeah. Sometimes I'll swap out my costumes for my crit one. It's all crit except for grade 4. It's damage rating. And oh, if you can find a costume core with invulnerability and 25% health regen, those are really good. I like those a lot. That's my yeah, that's for. Oh, and also sometimes if you're gonna swap out for crit rating, I like to swap out for my Ziggurat instead of the Crimson Crystal. I mean, if you're gonna go crit, you might as well get some more. That 600 crit damage rating. So, yeah. So that is my general setup for X defense. Where's that? Yeah, my stash is a mess. Sometimes when I want to do more of credit find, I'll use this because I mean it gives almost as much melee power as the Tombstone. It doesn't have the crit, but it's also got really good health like the Tombstone medallion, and then it's got the 15 extra credit per drop. So when I want more credits, I'll put that on, which I'm kind of low right now because I just bought this and messed with my costume cores a lot in the last week. So okay, so now I'm going to swap it out. And this is more like what I would use for soloing cosmic terminals. I swapped out my metasensory array for my Pim Shrink because when you're soloing, everything is hitting you, so you can basically pretty much just infinitely spam your spirit spenders all day long. So I swapped that out. And then I put on my Viking Gladiator, which was a pain to get, but I'm totally proud of it. And it's really good. And then I swap out my um, costume for my one with health. except I got dodge rating in there. I need to re-roll that. But oh, and I swap out my Excalibur or my gun gear for my Excalibur for the extra 50 health on hit and the 1,000 defense. So those two right there give you tons and tons of sustain, along with Savant Expert. Tons of sustain. So good. And yeah, that's pretty much my two main setups. I kind of swap around here and there. When I'm running terminal, sometimes I will put this on and slot it down here for teleporting. Because, like, especially if you're running Farm and Doom, that'll get you across the map way faster than just tumbling. Especially since you can jump through walls and jump over cliffs and oh wait, maybe you shouldn't jump over cliffs. Anyways, so my enchantments that I have on my slot 1 and my slot 5, I always run melee power. It's much better than physical power, even though I run this with physical. Because that adds to everything in the bow tree now that they changed Street Sweep. So that'll buff everything, whereas if you went physical, it wouldn't buff Street Sweep, and it wouldn't buff the energy damage on Grand Slam. For my slots 2, 3, and 4, I put health on those. Extra 600 health. And then I already showed that and that. My synergies that I'm running, which I kind of run the same for no matter what I'm running. Got Black Panther for move speed. I use Colossus for the health and the physical damage. Daredevil for the damage versus normals and elites. And that whenever I get around to leveling him up. Of course, I use Gambits for the rare item find and credits. Dots for Scarlet Witch dots for Street Sweep. Use the extra 30 extra spirit. Makes it where you can spam more spells. I use Wolverine for Brutal Strike chance and brutal damage. I use Spider-Man for the dodge chance, 2%. Nightcrawler for 4% melee power. That's one you could probably change out along with this one. I just have mostly have Cyclops on for the 10% bonus XP while I level up my Gunger. And this one does buff a lot of his area powers, so that's why I have that on. You could also use Captain America for the extra projectile deflection, especially in Cosmics. That's really, really useful. So, do a quick little scroll through my stats. 40% chance to dodge. Oh. So, yep. There it is. That's generally what I do for items.